Make sure we edit all that out. All right, come around, gather around. Welcome to the tool demo. We're going to the machine demo on setting jaws on a lathe. Okay, can you come in?
It's fine. It's still recording.
I want to make sure everybody can see good. Are we missing anybody? All right. Safety glasses on. Safety glasses. All right. We got to make sure everybody's got safety glasses on. We're going to start the demo. All right. So, welcome to our lathe here. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be setting jaws to hold onto a workpiece. We decided to use hard jaws today. Hard jaws have deep serrations on them like this so they can grip into the part. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to find a boring bar to use, and you're going to want to call up and make that tool active. Okay? So to make sure that I call that tool up and make sure it's active is what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a different tool, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to call it up in MDI so that I know that that tool is active. That is going to be tool 1. This shows what tool you have right here. This is tool 1, and the boring bar is going to be tool 2. Okay, that's the active tool up there. So I'm going to back it off right here to tool 1. I'm going to do an MDI tool change. So I'm going to go into MDI, manual data input for writing little mini programs, and I'm going to go G0 T0202 end of block insert. Make sure that I entered the right program, and then cycle start. To do that, you've got to clamp the chuck. It won't let you do anything unless the chuck is clamped right here and you can see that it's clamped. I don't know if you want to do a close-up on that. That's what it looks like when it's clamped. The jaw master is in like that. That's unclamped. That's clamped. Okay? All right, so now I want to hit cycle start. I got to shut the door. Can you see in there? Cycle start. Okay, now I did a live tool change, and now I know that this tool is live. So when I teach it, it's going to be taught correctly. So what I want to do is I want to hand jog this tool up to the inside of this spindle liner right here so that this tool insert is touching this liner. So you're going to go hand jog 0.01, and you're going to very carefully approach the chuck. As soon as you start to get close to it, you want to do a gear shift down to 0.001. If you're within at least an inch from the part, you've got to be on 0.001. Okay? So now I'm going to approach the inside of the spindle tube, the spindle liner. Then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to get a piece of paper. And I'm going to get as close as I can in X to the inside of that spindle tube. Now I know you can't really see very well in there, but if you look in there, you want to get as close as you can without the paper. Now watch me put the paper in there. Then you want to insert the paper in there, like so. Now there's paper in between the boring bar and the chuck. And then is what you do is you constantly move it up, going click by click, until there's drag on the paper. Now I've got a feel for this so I can go relatively fast on the hand wheel, but you're going to want to go one click at a time. It's getting pretty close. Right there. Okay, right there, the paper has caught the spindle tube. So now I know that the inside of this boring bar is right at the liner diameter. You can never be too safe, so you always want to come up just one or two clicks at a time. Right there. Now right there the paper's not moving, which means that that tool is actually a couple thousandths too far pressing that paper up against the spindle tube. So I'm going to back it off 1 or 2 thousandths so I get that little bit of drag. You see that little bit of drag on there? See how the paper's still moving? That's right where you want it to be. Because if you go too far and the paper doesn't move, you take a chance of breaking that insert. Okay? You want to do a close-up on that? Okay. So now that we have a live diameter, we can go hand jog 0.001 Z. Actually, the way I want you to do it is 0.001 in Z. So that when you come out, double check that you're in Z too. Just move one click. One click and it moved from 987 to 986. So one click. I see that it's moving in Z, so then you can go ahead and hand wheel it out of there. Biggest mistake students make is they think it's in Z, but it's in X. They're inside of this truck. They start turning it clockwise. Boring bar goes right up into the truck and it throws the whole turret off. Very big mistake that people make when they first start doing this. So you want to make sure it's in Z. One click, make sure that it's in the right axis, then you can hand wheel it out of there. Okay, now you want to measure the said spindle tube. And I am at 2.050. Okay. So this boring bar is right at that diameter, which is 2 inches 50 thousandths. So now we're going to go ahead and teach the machine where the tool is. Okay? We're going to teach the machine where the tool is. We're going to teach the machine where the tool is by hitting X diameter measure. When you hit X diameter measure, it tells you to enter the diameter. X diameter measure zeroes it out, and then you type in the diameter that the tool is at. So right now, our tool is at 2.05. Now, if you remember the 2 inches in there before I change this, it remembers the last number that you had in there. So it's very important to cancel that out. Very important to cancel that out. So you want to make sure you cancel that old number out and then put the new number in. Okay, so it says enter diameter 2.05, okay, and then enter. So right now, that tool is correctly taught. But we have a problem. You look at all these positions right here, and none of these positions say 2.05. You want to be able to have a position that reads the live diameter of this tool so that you can tell where to set the jaws at, because you don't know where to set these jaws at, okay? So as what we do is we go to the operator position. The operator position is the position that's for the operator. You can do whatever you want with it. You can make it 0, you can make it 100, you can make it whatever you want. Well, in this circumstance, we're going to make X 2.05, okay, X 2.05, and then you hit origin. Is what that does is that sets our diameter at 2.05. And as we move this in X, 2.051, 2.049, this coincides with this now. So as what it is this is a live, true diameter. So if we went to, say, X of 8.999, well, that's the diameter that tool is at. It's a live diameter. So what we can do now is we can measure our stock, which here we have 1.625 stock, inch and 5/8. And now we set the boring bar size to 1.625. Now you want to make sure that you don't hit the tailstock when you're coming down an X, because you're going to be coming down to a pretty small diameter. So be very careful when you're coming down an X. Alright, so now we're at 1.625. That is our stock size. This is our live stock size right here. So now when we bring this in, it's going to be at the correct size to set the jaw. Now another big mistake that rookies make is that when they clamp the chuck to do the MDI tool change, they accidentally leave the chuck clamped. So when they set their jaws, they're doing it in a clamped position, which is wrong. You need to unclamp that. Now the reason I know that is because I've done that several times. You set your jaws and you go to clamp your part and you step on it, and then instead of the chuck closing, it opens. And then you have to reset your jaws. So when you're setting your jaws, you want to make sure that you always have your T-nut with the chamfer facing in. Okay? So your T-nut is going to have a chamfer at the bottom. This is flat, and this has a little chamfer on it. You want this chamfer going in like this. Since we're going to be setting our jaws like this, we want to set them in like that and then get them started. So what you want to do is you want to get all three of your jaws ready first. There's jaw 1. You also want to make sure that you use a 10mm Allen wrench on these chucks too, because they're metric bolts. Again, these are not English bolts. These are metric bolts. You need a 10mm Allen wrench. And it cannot be stripped out at all. You need to have a good solid Allen wrench. If it's stripped out at all, come get me and I'll get you a new one. Now remember, you cannot bore hard jaws. So you got to set these bigger than the actual 1.625 so that when the chuck clamps down, it will clamp down on the workpiece. If you set it right at 1.625, the workpiece would not fit in there. Two sizes the same do not fit together. So we're going to have to set the jaws a little bigger than that. Most of the time, jaws are numbered with 1, 2, and 3. These hard jaws are not. These are really precision hard jaws, so they run true whatever slot you put them in. But usually, especially with soft jaws, they're numbered, and you want to number them with the jaw master. See, the jaw master's got a number on it, number 2, number 3, number 1. Little side note too, it's important to keep your chucks greased too. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and set this jaw in there, and I'm just going to hold it with my thumb and then start bringing the tool in. Start bringing the tool in so I can set my jaw to the right size. Remember, when you get an inch or closer, you got a gear shift to the 0.001. No speed racers in here. You got to slow down, nice and easy. Okay, so I can see that right there, that jaw is set at too small of a diameter. Okay, the part would not fit in there because this diameter of this tool is set at 1.625. Now our stock diameter is 1.625. So I've got to come out a couple notches with my jaw. Okay. Now I see that that's going to be too big. That's going to be too big. There's too much space there. If I went to go clamp my chuck, and I'll actually clamp it for you. If I went to go clamp my chuck, that wouldn't even clamp onto the part, and it would come flying out of the machine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down one more notch right there. And then that's where I'm going to set my jaws. So get the cameras in here so we can get a good look at this. That's right about where you want to set the jaws, right there. With hard jaws. Or you want to set them in a little bit closer. Okay, Casey, you want to go ahead and get a good look on that? Alright, once you get that set, then you can go ahead and put the other 3 on. Now, you're not going to get this right your first time. The reason I can throw them on there, because I've been doing this a while, you're going to have to monkey around with them. A little bit. So, after you put them on, I just snug the one top bolt right here on all 3 of them. Okay, and that is what I do. Is I bring my boring bar up right until about it almost hits. And then I make sure that all my jaws look the same. Because sometimes when you're a little bit farther away, you know, you can't see if they're in the right spot. But as that gap gets closer, you can really tell if your jaw's on the right size or not. Okay, so I'm going to do it one more time. I'm going to double check, come around. Okay, looks good. Looks good. Looks good. Okay, now I'm going to back my boring bar out of there very slowly. And Z, you can double check here. Remember, way to double check is you go 1 click. Okay, I see that it moved in Z. Now I'm safe to move out very slowly. Again, another pro tip is when you go to first move the hand wheel, do not move it like this. You want to hold it like this and move it like this until you get farther enough away from the part. And here's why. When you go to turn it like this, look what happens. It's really easy to go the wrong way. So if I'm trying to turn this clockwise and I'm going to go this way, I put pressure on it to go this way, but it's easy. See that? It's really easy to go the wrong way. Okay? So now I'm going to back this out of here. I'm going to snug up the rest of my jaws because these bolts on the inside were not tight, remember? They're just snug. Okay, I'm going to give them a little pop here like this. And then bring out the big guns, big Allen wrench, or big crescent wrench. Okay? So this is my preferred way of tightening jaws. Putting a crescent wrench on here, and then using the two wrenches in opposing forces. Now, something else you can do is you can move the boring bar in, and you can put the boring bar up against the jaw. You can do that, but I have heard of people throwing their turrets off like that. So what you can do is bring your boring bar in like this, bring your tool in, and you can tighten them like this. Now, when you take the jaw up against the boring bar, you don't want to hit it like that. You want to come up real soft till it touches. Then you put the power on. If you go like this and smash into it, you're going to tap that turret off, okay? This is a secondary preferred method. The first one is the crescent wrench. That's the best way, tried and true. That way your jaws will be good and tight, and your turret will be aligned 0-0 when you need it to do work. Again, I'm in point 001, coming away real slow, one click at a time to make sure I'm in the right axis, one click. Z, one down, okay? I can get out of there a little bit, and then speed it up. Again, start your hand wheel like this. When you're away, then graduate to this. Okay, now the big test. Take your stock, put it in, make sure it clamps it. Well, it went in, that's good. Okay, so it looks good. Something very important to look at is your jaw travel. You see that that's still got some jaw travel to go down more. So this is very important here, folks. Okay, watch this jaw right here. See how that's where the end of the travel is? You see that, Casey? That's where the end of the travel is right there. If you clamp your jaws and it looks like that, bad news bears, okay? You want to clamp it, and you want it to still have some space left. Then what I do is I take it and I spin it, make sure it's running relatively true before I turn the spindle on. Okay, looks good. To double check the final hoorah, you go to MDI, delete what was in there, M3, S500, end of block insert, double check to make sure you put the right numbers in there, cycle start, and our part is running perfectly true. That is a beautiful thing. All right, I want to thank you for attending your jaw setting seminar, and look forward to your next one, which is going to be boring jaws. Thanks, and have a good day. Bye.